everybody.
Hi everyone.
We are traveling teachers. For those of you that don't know, we live in Beijing, China, and have been for the past 3 years or so.
We actually live in a suburb of Beijing, a place called Shuni.
Yes, so we've been dealing with COVID-19 since about January 20th or so. So we wanted to show you a bit of what things are like in China now. So keep in mind, we live in Beijing, which is a lot stricter than probably the rest of China just because it is the capital. And things were a little bit more serious here because of the flights coming in from other countries. So if things are a certain way here, the rules are probably even more relaxed in other cities and other provinces in China. I wanted to talk to you a bit about what measures China took when we were in the middle, when things were just getting started in about January, February. Some of the rules that were in place were wearing masks in public. We always had to wear a mask whenever we went outside. Mandatory temperature checks for pretty much everywhere that we went. A lot of the shops and restaurants were closed. It's hard to know if that was because of Chinese New Year or because of COVID-19. Probably a little bit of a combination of both. There were strict rules for the compound, so no guests were allowed. So only people that lived in our compound were allowed inside. Our IE was allowed to come in, but she had to go to the police station and register and prove that she had done her quarantine, 14 days quarantine at her home before she was allowed to come in. Even us, we have to show these pink cards that show that we've done our quarantine. And I mean, we didn't have to do a quarantine because we never left Beijing. And we could basically come and go as we pleased. I want to say things are a little bit less strict in Shuni because things weren't serious here. I want to say Shuni had a total of 20-ish cases. I can't remember the numbers exactly.
10 to 20.
So don't quote me on it. But Shuni was never heavily affected, but we are near the airport. Shuni wasn't really heavily affected, so things are a little bit more relaxed here. Things are a little stricter in town.
For the last week or so, we've been out and about at different shops and grocery stores and restaurants and so on and so forth. And so we've taken video to show you guys what things look like. And here it is. Let us in. Alright, so with traffic, things seem to be back to normal for the most part.
At least this way. Did we go into town last week?
No.
Oh.
No, we went like a week and a half ago, like on a weekend for your last appointment.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since we've been into downtown.
Yeah, so those of you asking questions, or at least asking Ashley's mom questions, this is part of the reason why we're doing this video, is that trying to show you if things are back to normal. And in terms of traffic, it looks like they are.
I never thought I'd be happy to see normal traffic before. We're not doing a video. That says something. I wonder if it's food delivery person. Oh, look! You can see food delivery people. That's exciting. We haven't ordered delivery in a while, so I don't know if they can come in or not. But it looks like they're starting. So for a while, we haven't been able to get food delivery or packages at the door. But but we're starting to get packages now. We can still only enter from the north gate. A little bit more of a trek, but not a big deal. Walking's good for me anyway, even if I'm tired.
Ashley wanted me to get bagels this morning, or we got bagels yesterday rather, and we didn't have any cream cheese, so going to Jenny's right now. It's about 8 o'clock. We'll see how busy it is. It's actually 8:15 right now. So like I said, we had no cream cheese in the house, so we bought like 12 bagels yesterday. So Ashley sent me on the way to our local foreigner grocery store. I think it should be open by 8 o'clock. Probably it's not going to be that busy at this time of morning, but we'll just have to wait and see. So as you can see, it's not too busy here right now, but obviously it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, so they just opened up, which makes sense. It is usually a little bit busier in the daytime. Alright, I'm off to the second place of the day, which is Sam's Club, another grocery store, and since it's later in the day, it might be a little busier than this morning. This is in fact something new. Usually there's a plastic seat in between the driver and the passenger, but it looks like some cars are taking that down. Alright guys, so that trip to Sam's Club looked pretty normal, in fact, normal for a weekday. Doesn't look any busier or less busy as it usually is. So, at least for Sam's Club, it looks like everything's back to normal. Is this house?
用微信扫一扫，这是行程的码。
We got the
Green light.
the green light. For a while now, we've been using HealthKit on our phones. This is a mini program that's part of WeChat or Alipay. It allows foreign nationals to show that they are not under mandatory quarantine and that essentially they are healthy. I think it's there. Thank you. Wow, I didn't expect this. We're videoing each other. Alright, so I'm heading downtown. It is now Sunday, April 26th, and I'm gonna see how busy it is down there.
So this is an area called Beijing. Ashley and I have been here before several times. I actually came down here because I wanted to get Ashley it's called a push present. I won't show you, of course, because then she would see. But I came to get her a gift. She's actually napping at home right now.
But now you probably want to know exactly how back to normal are we. So in terms of the hospital, which we went to first in the video, we had to do temperature checks and sign in. It's been pretty much the same the whole time. There hasn't been a lot of change at the hospital.
Changed.
Keep in mind, I go to women and children's hospital, so no COVID-19 patients are treated there.
They're not allowed.
In fact, COVID-19 patients are only treated at 3 hospitals in Beijing. They're the designated COVID-19 hospitals. So yeah, no patients at my hospital, but they do ask us every week, like, have you left Beijing? And
Do you have a fever?
Do you have a fever? They check up me a couple times. We have to sign in, but so far the hospital hasn't changed.
As you saw in the video, we went to a few shops, and the bagel store that we went to at the beginning, the Daily Bagel, they are only taking to-go orders or takeaway orders, and so you saw the sign there. And let's see, grocery stores, I went to Jenny's, of course, and Jenny's, it was early in the morning, so they weren't that busy, but Sam's Club was pretty regular, pretty normal, in fact, other than people, of course, wearing masks, and other than the temperature check at the beginning.
Yeah, both stores have temperature checks still, and you have to do that at the beginning, and usually you have to sign something that says where your compound is, but for the most part. At the beginning of the pandemic, I think I already told you what that was like. Now, we still have to show our pink quarantine cards that allows us into the compound. We are allowed guests, so people are allowed to come into our compound. They still have to take temperature checks, and I think they might have to show their own compound quarantine card or the Health Kit app, which we explained in our video, which is pretty common here. And our guard has like a scanner, so you don't have to come up and show your wrist. He just kind of scans your temperature as you walk by. They've gotten a lot more relaxed, so that's been nice. We've seen package delivery people and food delivery people, and that's a lot more normal now, so we're happy about that.
Restaurants, we went to, well, we surprised Ashley with a baby shower, as you saw in the video.
You were surprised too.
I was a little bit,
Were you part of the planning?
Not much.
So you were not part of the planning.
So we went to the orchard, and we had our temperature check at the beginning, like when we first arrived, and then you might have noticed that people weren't really practicing social distancing, which is they take the temperature at the beginning, like before you go in, and so people, of course, can take off their masks, and we actually bring a little thing of alcohol around with us everywhere.
We get thirsty.
It doesn't sound as glamorous as it actually is. It's for, rubbing alcohol, like for wiping your hands, and so we're really cautious when it comes to cleanliness and washing hands and taking off our masks and whatnot.
Yeah, all the servers and shopkeepers, they also wear masks. So keep in mind, we live in Shunyi. The rules for downtown are a little bit different. I think restaurants are still maintaining social distancing. So a lot of restaurants only allow 2 or 3 people maximum at a table. Some places are still doing every other table. However, since April 30th, the strict restrictions on Beijing have been lifted. So Beijing has been officially declared COVID-19 free for the most part. As of today, there are 2 new cases of COVID-19. I want to say that they're in Harbin, which is a city far north. And there are overall 530 active cases, but they're being treated at the hospital. So things are looking good. However, schools are still not back in session. We have not seen our children since, January 17th? We had 3 weeks for Chinese New Year, but it's been a long time. We're now on our 11th week of
12th.
12th week of online teaching. I mean, I'm done. As you guys know, I'm on maternity leave, but 12 weeks still of online teaching. However, some good news. Grade 12 students went back on April 27th, and they've been doing that for a week now. And grade 9 students will be allowed back on May 11th. So there does seem to be some sort of staggering in how students are brought back. And I think after 2 weeks after the grade 9 students come back, the city is going to reassess which grade levels to allow back next. So they've been staggering.
I think they'll probably go from like the higher grades, of course, and then slowly down to the lower grades in upper elementary and lower elementary.
One thing that's also not back to normal is that China is closed to foreign countries still. So foreign countries, Chinese people are still allowed to come back to China. I imagine it's similar rules to Canada, where Canadians are allowed to come back into Canada, but otherwise the country is closed. So, I mean, Chinese are still somewhat fearful of foreigners, even though the foreigners that are in Beijing have done their quarantine. But some people are still like, oh, the situation is bad in America, therefore we haven't dealt with it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
That's more in the countryside, I would say. Some restaurants in Beijing, but we've never dealt with it. Most people, I wanted to say, haven't, but there are some instances. So there's no end in sight in terms of when the country's going to open up. However, some good news this week, again, is that China is opening up to Korean businessmen. Specifically, just the businessmen. So the situation in Korea seems to have gotten a lot better. So they're going to allow that in. So it sounds like they're going to start allowing other countries.
I guess depending on what their numbers are and how well or how poorly they're doing with dealing
so
with it.
They might stagger which countries they allow back, and you have to have a certain visa, I think, to be allowed back in. So the family members of businessmen are not allowed in yet. Ever since April 30th, I would say things have been looking relatively normal. People have been out and about. A lot more restaurants are starting to open up. People are still cautious. You still see hand sanitizer and masks everywhere. On a scale of 1 to 10, how back to normal are we?
I'd say like a 7, I would say, but
I would say 8.
it's normal, but it's not really normal because of all the
Because
temperature
at the
checks.
same time, we also think like the temperature checks, the masks. A good majority of our friends are not here.
So that's not normal.
No, we're still teaching from home, but we're getting there. We're pretty close. But remember, China's goal is to completely eradicate COVID-19. They want no more cases, whereas the rest of the world, I think they're trying to deal with flattening the curve. So a little bit different.
Ashley's going to have a baby soon, and so for the next 1 or 2 videos, we might take a bit of a break, or we might make some video game videos to keep you guys occupied. So watch for that, and we'll have our baby on the way.
Yay!
So with that, I guess we'll say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, so the guy, he couldn't come into our building because our passcode thing was broken, but he was allowed inside our compound, which is the first that it's been like that since a couple months. Yay. And we're also getting packages to our door now. Isn't that good news, puppy? You get to bark at people again. Then again, we also have this, which just says who our food servers were, the delivery person, and what their temperatures were. So that's not normal.